The medical bay of the interstellar hospital ship, Mercy, hummed with activity. Dr. Jin stood at his console, reviewing patient charts when the emergency alerts began to sound. The sliding doors opened with a hiss as medical staff rushed a hovering stretcher into the treatment area. Dr. Jin glanced up, then immediately looked away when he saw what, or rather who, was on the stretcher. A young carbon, no more than the equivalent of 8 Earth years old, lay trembling with extensive plasma, burns covering much of his obsidian skin. "Doctor, we need you now," called Nurse Sun, already preparing the burn treatment protocols. The child was caught in an engine malfunction on their transport vessel. Dr. Jin's jaw tightened. He continued scrolling through his console as if he hadn't heard her. "Dr. Jin," Nurse Sun repeated, her voice sharper. "This patient needs immediate attention." "Fine, Dr. Moon," Jin replied without looking up. "I'm busy with human patients." Nurse Sun stepped closer, lowering her voice. "Dr. Moon is handling the casualties from Deck 7. You're our burn specialist and this child needs you now." The carbon child made a soft whimpering sound. Where the plasma had burned, the normally coal-black skin had turned gray and cracked, revealing blue-tinged tissue beneath. A carbon adult stood nearby, 4 eyes blinking rapidly in what humans had learned was their expression of extreme distress. "I don't treat carbons," Dr. Jin said coldly. "Their biology is too different from ours. Our treatments might make it worse." "That's not true, and you know it," Nurse Sun hissed. "The medical exchange program has given us all the protocols we need." The adult carbon stepped forward. "I am Day, ambassador to the Human Alliance. This child is called Tay. Please help him." Dr. Jin finally looked up, his eyes hard. "The carbons killed thousands at the Orion colonies. My sister was stationed there." Before Day could respond, Captain Kang entered the medical bay. Her uniform was impeccable as always, but her expression was thunderous. "Dr. Jin, what's the delay? I was informed we have a critical burn patient." "Captain, I was just explaining to the nurse that carbon physiology is fully documented in our medical database, with appropriate treatment protocols that you helped develop last year," Captain Kang finished for him. "What's the real problem here, Doctor?" The medical bay fell silent except for the beeping of monitors and the pained breathing of the carbon child. Dr. Jin's hands clenched at his sides. "With respect, Captain, I believe my skills are better used on human patients. The carbons have their own doctors." "Not on this ship they don't," Captain Kang replied. "The Mercy is an interspecies hospital ship, and you took an oath to treat all patients regardless of species." "An oath to humans," Dr. Jin muttered. Captain Kang stepped closer, her voice dropping so only Dr. Jin could hear. "You're letting your prejudice cloud your judgment, Doctor. That child is suffering. The carbons didn't show mercy when they bombed our colonies," Dr. Jin shot back. "That was a rogue military faction, not this child," Captain Kang said firmly. "And the war ended 3 years ago. We have peace now." The captain's communicator beeped. She answered it, her expression changing as she listened. "Understood, I'll inform them." She disconnected and looked at Day. "Ambassador, I've just received word that Commander June's vessel has requested emergency docking. He'll be arriving within the hour." Dr. Jin's face paled slightly. Everyone aboard the Mercy knew of Commander June, the highest-ranking carbon in the Joint Fleet. "And father to the injured child, I see," Day replied, his deep voice resonating in the suddenly quiet room. "The commander will be grateful for whatever care has been provided to his son by then." The implied warning was clear. Dr. Jin crossed his arms. "Captain, I must protest. I cannot in good conscience." "Dr. Jin, you have 2 choices." "Captain," Kang interrupted. "Treat this patient now, or report to the brig for insubordination and violation of your medical oath. Which will it be?" Dr. Jin glared at her, then at the suffering child. "Fine. I'll stabilize him until a carbon doctor arrives." He turned to Nurse Sun. "Prepare 10 units of the synthetic skin and set up the burn chamber." Nurse Sun moved quickly, relief evident on her face. Dr. Jin approached the child, trying to keep his face neutral despite the revulsion he felt. He had not touched a carbon since medical school. "Hello, Tay," he said stiffly. "I'm going to treat your burns now." The child's 4 eyes blinked slowly as he looked up at Dr. Jin. "It hurts," Tay said in halting human language. Something uncomfortable stirred in Dr. Jin's chest, but he pushed it away. "I know. The treatment will help with the pain." He scanned the child's vital signs, frowning at what he saw. "How long ago did this happen?" "Nearly 2 hours, Day replied. "Our transport doesn't have advanced medical facilities." Dr. Jin's frown deepened. "That's too long. These burns should have been treated immediately." He turned to Nurse Sun. "Change of plans. We need to use the carbon healing gel first, then the synthetic skin." "Yes, doctor," she replied, already adjusting the treatment plan. As Dr. Jin worked, applying the specialized gel to the burned areas, he couldn't help but notice how the child tried not to cry out despite obvious pain. It reminded him of human children he had treated, brave despite their suffering. "You're doing well," he found himself saying. "The gel will cool the burns." As predicted, the specialized carbon medication began to work, the gray areas slowly returning to their natural black color. The child's breathing eased slightly. The medical bay doors opened again, and Dr. Jin looked up expecting to see Captain Kang. Instead, a tall carbon officer ducked through the doorway. Unlike the others, whose skin was purely black, this one had intricate silver patterns across his face and hands, the mark of high rank. The room fell silent as Commander Jun approached the treatment bed. His 4 eyes took in the scene: Dr. Jin with hands covered in carbon healing gel, his son lying injured but receiving treatment. "Commander," Dr. Jin said stiffly, continuing his work, "your son has sustained serious plasma burns, but we've begun treatment." Jun studied Dr. Jin for a long moment. "Thank you, doctor. I came as quickly as I could." Dr. Jin nodded curtly and returned to his work, uncomfortable under the commander's gaze. Something about the carbon's calm demeanor unsettled him. He had expected anger, demands, perhaps even threats. "Doctor," Commander Jun said, "when you have a moment, I would like to speak with you privately." Before Dr. Jin could respond, his console beeped with an urgent alert. The child's vital signs were dropping. "He's going into shock," Dr. Jin announced, medical training taking over. "Nurse Sun, prepare the stabilizer. We need to act now." As Dr. Jin fought to save the carbon child's life, he found his prejudice temporarily forgotten, replaced by the familiar rhythm of emergency medicine. In that moment, Tay wasn't a carbon. He was simply a patient who needed help. The alert system of the Mercy announced the arrival of an unscheduled vessel. Dr. Jin looked up from his console where he had been monitoring the young carbon patient's vital signs. The boy, Tay, was stable now but still in serious condition. "That's odd," Nurse Sun said. "The commander's ship already docked an hour ago." "It's probably a medical transport," Dr. Jin replied, trying to sound unconcerned. He had managed to stabilize the carbon child, but he still felt uncomfortable whenever he had to touch the alien's coal-black skin. The medical bay doors slid open. Commander Jun entered, his tall frame nearly touching the ceiling. Behind him walked another carbon, even taller and broader than the commander. "Dr. Jin," Commander Jun said with a slight bow of his head. "This is High Commander Min of the Carbon Defense Fleet." Dr. Jin stiffened. The High Commander was the most senior, carbon military leader in this sector, equivalent to a human admiral. His presence on the Mercy was unprecedented. "High Commander," Dr. Jin acknowledged stiffly. High Commander Min approached Tay's bedside, his 4 eyes blinking slowly as he studied the boy's condition. Then he turned to Dr. Jin. "This child is precious to our people," Min said in a deep, rumbling voice. "He is the first carbon born after the peace treaty, a symbol of the new era." Dr. Jin didn't know how to respond. He hadn't known the child held any special status. "I understand there was some hesitation in his treatment," Min continued. Dr. Jin felt his face grow hot with shame and anger. So Commander June had reported him. "Hi, Commander, I would like to speak with you privately, Doctor," Min interrupted. "Commander June will stay with the child." Before Dr. Jin could object, Captain Kang entered the medical bay. "Hi, Commander Min. This is an honor. We weren't expecting you." "This visit was not planned," Min replied. "But when I heard about the incident with the child, I felt my presence was needed." Dr. Jin felt trapped as Captain Kang nodded. "Of course. You can use my office for your discussion with Dr. Jin." Minutes later, Dr. Jin found himself sitting across from High Commander Min in the captain's office. He expected to be reprimanded, perhaps even threatened with diplomatic consequences. Instead, Min activated a small device on the table between them. A holographic image appeared, a battlefield scene that Dr. Jin recognized immediately from history lessons. The Battle of Orion Station, where thousands of humans had died. "You lost someone there," Min said. It wasn't a question. "My sister," Dr. Jin replied, his voice tight. "She was a medical officer." Min nodded slowly. "I thought as much. Your anger has a personal root." The hologram shifted to show a different scene, a carbon medical facility with injured humans being treated by carbon doctors. "This was the aftermath of the battle," Min explained. "Not all humans died. Many were saved by our medical teams." Dr. Jin stared at the images. He had never seen this footage before. "Why are you showing me this?" Instead of answering directly, Min changed the hologram again. This time, it showed a human woman being treated for severe injuries. Dr. Jin's heart stopped. "Mina," he whispered, recognizing his sister. "Yes," Min confirmed. "Lieutenant Mina Jin. She was found floating in space, barely alive, by a carbon scout ship." Dr. Jin couldn't tear his eyes from the image of his sister, who he had been told died instantly in the attack. "She survived for 3 days," Min said gently. "Our doctors tried everything. She was conscious enough to record a final message." The hologram changed again, now showing Mina lying in a medical bed. Her face was badly burned, but her eyes were clear. "Jin," she said weakly, "if you see this and don't hate them, the carbons who attacked us were rebels, not the real carbon people, the ones here. They're trying to save me." Dr. Jin felt tears forming in his eyes. For 3 years he had nurtured his hatred, believing his sister had died instantly, vaporized by carbon weapons. "Why didn't anyone tell me?" he demanded. "The battle happened during the communications blackout," Min explained. By the time regular channels were restored, she had passed. Her message was logged, but in the chaos of war's end, many such records were misplaced. Min deactivated the hologram. "I only discovered it myself last month during a review of war records." Dr. Jin sat in stunned silence, his worldview crumbling around him. "There is more," Min said quietly. "The doctor who treated your sister was me. Before I became High Commander, I was Chief Medical Officer of the Carbon Fleet." Dr. Jin looked up in shock. "You?" Min nodded. "Your sister taught me much about human physiology during those 3 days. Her knowledge helped save many humans." Afterward, Dr. Jin struggled to process this information. The being he had hated for years had tried to save his sister. "And Commander Jun?" Dr. Jin asked. "Was my medical assistant at the time?" Min confirmed. "He learned human medicine from your sister's guidance." The door chimed, and Commander Jun entered, his expression grave. "High Commander, the child is asking for his father." Min stood. "We will continue this conversation later, Doctor. For now, your patient needs you." Dr. Jin followed them back to the medical bay. Tay looked small and vulnerable on the large treatment bed, his obsidian skin glistening under the medical lights. "Father," Tay said weakly when he saw Commander Jun, "does it make you ashamed that I cried?" Jun moved quickly to his son's side, gently touching the unburned portion of his face. "No, my son. Pain happens to all beings. There is no shame in—" Dr. Jin watched this tender exchange, seeing for the first time the carbons not as enemies but as people capable of the same love and concern as humans. He thought of his sister's final message. Nurse Sun approached with updated scan results. The synthetic skin is bonding well with his natural tissue, but there's a complication with his respiratory system. The plasma exposure affected his breathing nodes. Dr. Jin reviewed the scans. We need to adjust the treatment. The standard protocol won't be sufficient. He looked at Commander June. I'll need your help. Your knowledge of carbon physiology combined with my burn expertise might save him. June's 4 eyes blinked in surprise. Of course, Doctor. As they began working together, Dr. Jin felt something shift inside him. The hatred that had driven him for years began to dissolve, replaced by the simple focus of a doctor trying to save a patient. There's something else, Commander June said as they worked. Something you should know about why I requested this posting when my son was injured. Dr. Jin looked up. What do you mean? I specifically asked for you to treat him, June said, because I knew your sister, and because I believed that healing my son might help heal something in you as well. Dr. Jin's hands paused in their work. You knew who I was all along? Yes, June replied simply. Your sister spoke of you often during those 3 days. She was very proud of her brother, the brilliant doctor. For the first time since his sister's death, Dr. Jin felt the weight of hatred lifting from his shoulders. He looked down at the child on the table, seeing not an enemy, but simply a patient in need. Let's save your son, Dr. Jin said. Together. The medical bay was quiet as Dr. Jin studied the carbon medical logs displayed on his screen. The information Commander June had shared was revolutionary. Carbon healing compounds contained elements that could repair damaged human tissue at rates much faster than any current human medicine. Dr. Jin's hands trembled slightly as he scrolled through the data. This could change everything, he murmured to himself. Commander June stood nearby, watching over his son Tae, who rested in a healing chamber. The boy's condition had stabilized, but the more severe burns would take time to heal completely. You seem surprised by our medical technology, June observed. Doctor, Jin looked up. I am. These compounds, and they could revolutionize our burn treatments. Why hasn't this been shared before? It was, June replied simply. 3 years ago, as part of the peace treaty. The information was given to your medical authorities. Dr. Jin frowned. That's impossible. I would have known about it. Would you? June asked. You who refused to read any carbon medical journals? Who avoided all interspecies medical conferences? The truth of these words stung Dr. Jin. His prejudice had blinded him to advances that could have helped countless patients. I've been a fool, he admitted quietly. No, June corrected. You've been in pain. There's a difference. Dr. Jin stood and walked to Ty's healing chamber. The boy slept peacefully now, his breathing more regular. The synthetic skin grafts were bonding well with his natural tissue. Your synthetic skin technology is equally impressive, June continued. It adapts to our biology better than our own healing membranes. That's why I pushed for the exchange program, came a new voice. Doctor. Jin turned to see High Commander Min entering the medical bay, accompanied by Captain Kang. The program you refused to participate in, Captain Kang added pointedly. Dr. Jin felt his face grow warm with shame. Yes, Captain. Doctor, Min said, his deep voice gentle. I bring news that may interest you. Our scientists have been studying the combined effects of carbon healing compounds with human synthetic skin. The results have been promising. More than promising, June added. The combination accelerates healing by 300% in both species. Dr. Jin's medical mind raced with the possibilities. If that's true, we could save patients with injuries previously considered fatal. Exactly, Min agreed. But such work requires cooperation between our peoples. True cooperation, not forced tolerance. Before Dr. Jin could respond, the ship's alarm system blared to life. Red warning lights flashed throughout the medical bay. All personnel, this is Captain Kang, came the announcement over the comm system. We have encountered a Class 3 spatial anomaly. Prepare for emergency protocols. Dr. Jin immediately moved to secure Tae's healing chamber. What kind of anomaly? he asked Captain Kang. Some kind of spatial distortion, she replied, checking her communicator. It appeared out of nowhere. We're trying to move away, but it's affecting our engines. The ship shuddered violently. Equipment slid from tables, crashing to the floor. Commander June steadied himself against a wall. Captain, he said urgently, carbon sensors detected similar anomalies near the Procyon system last month. They emit radiation harmful to both our species. Captain Kang's communicator beeped. She listened briefly before her expression turned grave. Engineering confirms radiation levels are rising. We need to evacuate to the shielded areas of the ship. Doctor, Jin checked Tay's vital signs. The boy had awakened, his 4 eyes wide with fear. The radiation will be especially dangerous for him in his weakened state, Dr. Jin said. His healing chamber provides some protection, but not enough for prolonged exposure. The evacuation pods are shielded, Captain Kang said. We need to get everyone there, now. Another violent shudder ran through the ship. The lights flickered and several medical consoles went dark. Engineering reports the anomaly is growing, Captain Kang announced. Evacuation is now mandatory for all non-essential personnel. Dr. Jin moved quickly to prepare Tay for transport. We'll need to disconnect him from the main system and switch to portable power for the healing chamber. As Nurse Sun helped Dr. Jin, Commander June and High Commander Min conferred quietly. Dr. Jin caught fragments of their conversation in the carbon language. Their tones sounded concerned. Is there something I should know? Dr. Jin asked. Min turned to him. The carbon transport that brought me here has more advanced shielding technology. We could evacuate Tai there. Then let's do that, Dr. Jin said, continuing to prepare the boy for transport. There's a complication, June explained. Our research suggests that moving between different radiation shields during exposure can create a dangerous reaction in the body cells. It would be safer for Tay to stay in one shielded location. Dr. Jin processed this information. So either we keep him on the Mercy in an evacuation pod, or we transfer him now to your ship before radiation levels rise further. Correct, Min confirmed, and we must decide quickly. Dr. Jin checked Tay's vital signs again. The boy was watching him, fear evident in his quadruple gaze. Will I die? Tay asked softly in the human language. The question struck Dr. Jin's heart. Just days ago, he might have felt nothing for this alien child. Now he felt the same concern he would for any patient. No, Dr. Jin said firmly. You won't die. Not while I'm your doctor. He turned to the commanders. His condition has stabilized, but the burns are still severe, moving him to a new environment. With different atmospheric settings could compromise his recovery. He made his decision. I recommend keeping him here on the Mercy. I'll stay with him in the evacuation pod. Commander June's 4 eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of strong emotion. Then I will stay as well. No, Dr. Jin said. Tay will need you healthy when this is over. The evacuation pods are small. Too many people will use up oxygen faster. As his doctor, I should be the one to stay. The ship shuddered again, more violently this time. The overhead lights switched to emergency power, casting the medical bay in a dim red glow. We don't have time to debate, Captain Kang said. Make your decision now. High Commander Min placed a hand on June's shoulder. The doctor is right. Your son needs his father alive. Reluctantly, June nodded. He approached his son's bedside and spoke softly in the carbon language. Tay's response was weak but clear. As the evacuation began, Dr. Jin and Nurse Sun carefully moved Tay's healing chamber toward the nearest evacuation pod. The corridors were filled with crew members moving quickly but orderly toward their assigned evacuation points. This pod is designed for 4, Nurse Sun noted as they reached their destination. You should go to another pod, Dr. Jin told her. The healing chamber takes up space and Tay needs room to recover. Nurse Sun hesitated. Are you sure? Yes, Dr. Jin replied. I can monitor him alone. As the last preparations were made, Captain Kang approached Dr. Jin. The radiation levels are increasing faster than expected. Once in the pod, stay there until you receive the all clear no matter what. Understood, Captain. Commander June came to say a final goodbye to his son before departing for the carbon vessel. He turned to Dr. Jin, his expression solemn. Thank you, he said simply. For seeing him as a child, not as a carbon. Dr. Jin nodded, unable to find words to express how much had changed within him in so short a time. As the evacuation pod sealed shut with Dr. Jin and Tay inside, the doctor checked the radiation shields and life support systems. All readings were normal. Through the small viewport he could see the eerie glow of the spatial anomaly growing larger. Don't worry, he told Tay. We'll be safe here. But even as he spoke, Dr. Jin noticed the radiation meter beginning to climb slowly. The shields were working, but something was wrong. The level shouldn't be rising at all. Outside, the anomaly pulsed with strange energy, and Dr. Jin realized this crisis was far from over. The evacuation pod's warning system emitted a soft but insistent beep. Dr. Jin checked the display and felt his stomach tighten. The radiation levels inside the pod were rising steadily, slowly but definitely rising. The shields weren't completely effective against whatever energy the spatial anomaly was emitting. Is something wrong? Tay asked from his healing chamber. The young carbon's 4 eyes blinked nervously. Dr. Jin forced a reassuring smile. Just a small problem with the shields. Nothing to worry about yet. He tapped the communication panel. Evacuation pod 7 to bridge. Captain Kang, are you receiving? Static filled the speaker before the captain's voice broke through. We read you, Dr. Jin. Status report. Radiation is penetrating the shields. Current levels are still safe, but rising at approximately 0.3 units per minute. There was a pause before Captain Kang responded. All pods are reporting similar issues. Engineering thinks the anomaly is emitting an unknown form of radiation that partially bypasses our shielding technology. Dr. Jin did the mental calculation. At the current rate, they had about 4 hours before radiation reached dangerous levels for a healthy human. For an injured carbon child, the safe window would be much shorter. What's our extraction plan? He asked. We're working on it, Captain Kang replied, her voice tight with strain. The main engines are offline. We're using thrusters to slowly move away from the anomaly, but it's going to take time. The ship shuddered again, causing the small pod to shake violently. Medical supplies tumbled from their storage compartments. A container of synthetic skin patches burst open, scattering its contents across the floor. What was that? Dr. Jin demanded. The anomaly just expanded, Captain Kang answered. It's growing faster than our models predicted. Stand by. The communication fell silent except for background chatter Dr. Jin couldn't make out. He looked at Tay, who was watching him intently. My father will come for us, Tay said with surprising confidence. Dr. Jin nodded, though he wasn't as certain. The carbon vessel was better shielded, but approaching the Mercy while the anomaly was expanding would be extremely dangerous. The comm system crackled again. This time it was Commander June's voice. Dr. Jin, this is June. Are you maintaining stable life support? Affirmative, Dr. Jin replied. But radiation levels are increasing. Tay's condition is stable for now, but I'm concerned about extended exposure. Understood, June said. We're working on a solution. High Commander Min's vessel has stronger shields, but the anomaly is making docking impossible right now. As they spoke, Dr. Jin noticed Tay's vital signs beginning to fluctuate on the monitor. The boy's breathing had become more labored, and his temperature was rising. Commander, Tay's showing signs of radiation sensitivity, Dr. Jin reported, moving quickly to check the healing chamber's settings. His condition is deteriorating faster than expected. The carbon body processes radiation differently than humans, June explained, his voice tense. What are his readings? Dr. Jin read off the numbers, watching in concern as they continued to worsen. Doctor, June said urgently, you need to modify the healing chamber's atmospheric mix. Increase oxygen by 15% and add 2 units of stabilizing compound from the emergency medical kit. Dr. Jin found the compound, a blue-green gel in a sealed container. This was designed for human physiology. Are you sure it's safe for him? It's compatible, June assured him. It was part of the medical exchange program. It will help his body resist the radiation temporarily. Dr. Jin carefully administered the compound through the chamber's medication port, then adjusted the oxygen levels as instructed. Almost immediately, Tay's vital signs began to stabilize. "It's working," Dr. Jin reported with relief. "But I don't have much more of this compound. Maybe enough for 2 more doses." "Use it sparingly," June advised. "We're developing a plan to reach you." The communication cut off abruptly. Dr. Jin tried to re-establish contact, but only static answered him. The anomaly was now interfering with communications. Alone with his patient, Dr. Jin took stock of their situation. The pod's life support was functioning normally, but radiation levels continued to rise. At the current rate, they had perhaps 2 hours before it became critical for Tay. The young carbon watched him work, his 4 eyes tracking every movement. "You're different now," Tay observed suddenly. Dr. Jin looked up, surprised. "What do you mean? When I first came to your medical place, you wouldn't look at me," Tay said simply. "Now you look at me like my father does." Dr. Jin felt something twist in his chest. The child had noticed his initial prejudice, his refusal to even make eye contact. "I was wrong before," Dr. Jin admitted. "I let bad memories make me think all carbons were enemies." Tay considered this. "My father says memories are like stars. Some shine bright and warm, others burn hot and painful. But all of them guide us." Dr. Jin smiled despite their dire situation. "Your father is wise." A sudden jolt shook the pod, harder than before. Warning lights flashed across the control panel. "Pod 7, do you copy?" Captain Kang's voice broke through the static. "The anomaly has changed its energy signature. Radiation levels are going to increase significantly." As if confirming her warning, the radiation meter began to climb more rapidly. Dr. Jin felt the first symptoms in his own body. A slight dizziness, a metallic taste in his mouth. "Captain, we need extraction now," he reported. "Radiation levels are becoming critical." "We're sending a team," she replied. "Commander June is leading it personally. They'll reach you in approximately 40 minutes. Dr. Jin looked at the radiation meter again. In 40 minutes, the levels would be well into the danger zone. He glanced at Tay, whose condition was again beginning to deteriorate. "That might be too late," he said softly, but not into the comm. Tay heard him. "Are we going to die?" he asked. Dr. Jin moved to the healing chamber and placed his hand against the transparent cover. "No," he said firmly. "I promise to keep you safe, and I will." Looking around the pod, Dr. Jin's medical mind raced through options. The radiation was affecting them both, but Tay more severely due to his injured state. The pod's shields were insufficient, and communications were becoming less reliable. Then his eyes fell on his medical bag. Inside was a personal radiation shield, a small device designed to create a localized protection field. It was standard equipment for emergency medical teams, but only powerful enough to protect one person. Without hesitation, Dr. Jin activated the device and placed it on top of Tay's healing chamber. The blue field surrounded the chamber completely, and almost immediately, the monitor showed Tay's vital signs improving. "What about you?" Tay asked, noticing what Dr. Jin had done. "I'll be fine," Dr. Jin lied, already feeling the increasing effects of radiation. As the minutes passed, Dr. Jin fought to stay alert. He administered the last dose of stabilizing compound to himself, knowing it would buy him time, but not enough. His vision began to blur and his hands shook as he checked Tay's vital signs one more time. The boy was stable now, protected by the personal shield. He would survive until rescue arrived. Dr. Jin slumped against the wall of the pod, satisfaction warming him despite the growing pain in his body. "Dr. Jin?" Tay called, his voice worried. "Your face looks wrong." Dr. Jin managed a weak smile. "Just tired," he mumbled. "Rest now, your father will be here soon." As consciousness began to fade, Dr. Jin thought of his sister. Would she be proud of him now? He believed she would. Through the pod's viewport, he could see a bright light approaching. Was it the rescue team or just his radiation-affected vision playing tricks? He couldn't be sure. Someone's coming, Tay said excitedly. Look. With his last reserves of strength, Dr. Jin lifted his head to look out the viewport. A shuttle was indeed approaching, navigating Karef, Ully through the energy waves of the anomaly. On its side was the emblem of the Carbon Defense Fleet. Told you, Tay said. My father always comes. Dr. Jin smiled as darkness closed in around him. The last thing he heard was the sound of the pod's outer hatch being opened and Commander June's voice calling his name. Brightness. That was the first thing Dr. Jin noticed as consciousness slowly returned. A bright light above him, harsh and white. He blinked, trying to focus his eyes. The ceiling was unfamiliar, not the standard medical bay of the Mercy or an evacuation pod. The architecture had the curved, flowing lines typical of Carbon. Design. He's awake, someone said nearby. A human voice, nurse son. Dr. Jin tried to sit up but found his body weak and unresponsive. A firm hand gently pressed him back down. Lie still, Commander June said, coming into view. Your body needs time to recover. Tay, Dr. Jin croaked, his throat dry and painful. Is he? My son is well, June replied. Thanks to you. Memory flooded back, the radiation, the personal shield he had placed on Tay's healing chamber, the approaching Carbon shuttle. Dr. Jin looked around, finally recognizing his surroundings as a medical facility on a Carbon vessel. How? He began. Our rescue team reached you just in time, June explained. You were unconscious with severe radiation poisoning. Tay was protected by your shield. Dr. Jin noticed a strange sensation on his chest. Looking down, he saw a dark, blue patch attached to his skin glowing softly with a pulsing light. What is this? He asked. A Carbon healing patch, came another voice. High Commander Min stepped into view. Very rare among our people, made from minerals found only in the deepest caves of our homeworld. Dr. Jin stared at the patch. You used it on me? Why? Min's 4 eyes blinked slowly, the Carbon equivalent of a thoughtful pause. Because you earned it. You placed your life at risk to save a Carbon child. I was just doing my job, Dr. Jin said weakly. No, June corrected him. Your job was to treat him. What you did went far beyond duty. Nurse Sun approached with water, helping Dr. Jin to drink. As his throat cleared, he asked, The Mercy? The crew? All safe, she assured him. The anomaly dissipated almost as suddenly as it appeared. Captain Kang sends her regards. She wanted to be here, but she's overseeing repairs to the Mercy. How long have I been unconscious? 3 days, June answered. The radiation damage was extensive. Without the healing patch, recovery would have taken months if you survived at all. Dr. Jin touched the patch gently. I don't understand. If this is so rare and valuable, why waste it on me? High Commander Min made a sound that Dr. Jin recognized as the Carbon version of a chuckle. Not waste, Doctor. Investment. The knowledge gained from your treatment will benefit both our peoples. He paused. Besides, my young grandson would be quite upset if I let his doctor die. Grandson? Dr. Jin looked at Tay, who had just entered the room, his burns now almost completely healed. Yes, Min confirmed. Tay is my daughter's child. June is my son-in-law. Tay approached Dr. Jin's bed, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly with excitement. You're better. Father said the blue stone would heal you, but I was worried. Dr. Jin smiled at the child. It takes more than a little radiation to stop me. Tay climbed onto a chair next to the bed. I told everyone how you gave me your shield. The other Carbons want to meet you now. Dr. Jin glanced questioningly at June, who nodded. News travels fast. Your actions have changed perspectives. A medical officer entered and checked Dr. Jin's vital signs. The patch has completed its work, she announced. You can remove it now. As the patch was carefully peeled away, Dr. Jin was amazed to see his skin beneath perfectly healthy. No signs of the radiation burns that should have been there. Remarkable, he murmured. The regenerative properties are far beyond anything in human medicine. Yes, Min agreed. just as your synthetic skin technology exceeds our own healing membranes for certain injuries. With help, Dr. Jin sat up and then carefully stood. His legs felt weak but supported his weight. Through a viewport, he could see the Mercy docked alongside the carbon vessel. "There's something I want to show you," June said, gesturing towards the door. "If you feel strong enough to walk." Curious, Dr. Jin nodded. With Tay bouncing excitedly beside him and Nurse Sun ready to assist if needed, they made their way through the corridors of the carbon ship. Crew members they passed stopped and bowed their heads respectfully to Dr. Jin, a gesture he had never expected to receive from carbons. They entered what appeared to be a research laboratory. Several carbon and human scientists worked side by side at various stations. In the center of the room was a large transparent container filled with a swirling blue-green substance. "What is this?" Dr. Jin asked. "The future," June replied simply. "A medical breakthrough that began 6 months ago but has accelerated rapidly in the past 3 days." One of the human scientists approached. "Dr. Jin, it's an honor to meet you. Your recovery provided the missing data we needed." "I don't understand," Dr. Jin said. High Commander Min gestured to the container. "This is a synthesis of carbon healing compounds and human synthetic skin technology. We've been trying to combine them for years, but the molecular structures were incompatible. Until now," the scientist added excitedly. "Your treatment created a bridge we hadn't considered. The radiation altered the bonding properties of the carbon compounds in a way that makes them compatible with human cellular structures." Dr. Jin stared at the swirling substance. "You mean, yes," June confirmed. "A universal healing agent that works on both our species, and potentially many others." The implications were staggering. Dr. Jin approached the container, watching the substance move as if alive. "How soon until it's ready for clinical trials?" "That's why we wanted you here," Min said. "The Interstellar Medical Council has approved immediate trials, but they need someone to lead the research team, someone with experience in both human and carbon medicine." Dr. Jin looked up in surprise. "Me? But I'm not an expert in carbon physiology. You kept my grandson alive when many carbon doctors would have failed," Min pointed out. "And more importantly, you crossed a boundary few have been willing to cross. That makes you uniquely qualified." Dr. Jin felt overwhelmed. Just days ago, he had refused to even touch a carbon patient. Now he was being offered the chance to lead a groundbreaking medical research team. "I don't know what to say," he admitted. "Say yes," Tay urged, tugging at his hand. "Then you can teach me to be a doctor too." Dr. Jin smiled at the child. "You want to be a doctor?" "Like my father, and like you," Tay said confidently. "A doctor for everyone, not just carbons." 6 months later, Dr. Jin stood before the Interstellar Medical Council, Commander June at his side. Behind them, a large screen displayed the results of the first clinical trials of what had been named Unity Serum. "The results exceed our most optimistic projections," Dr. Jin reported. "Recovery rates have improved by 300% across all test groups. Injuries previously considered permanently debilitating are showing complete healing." The council members murmured among themselves, clearly impressed. "And what of the rare minerals required for the carbon components?" one counselor asked. "Won't that limit production?" June stepped forward. "The Carbon High Council has voted unanimously to share access to our mineral deposits. In return, human synthetic skin technology will be made available to all carbon medical facilities." After the presentation, as they walked through the halls of the council building, Dr. Jin noticed a memorial wall dedicated to those lost in the Orion conflict. He stopped, searching for and finding his sister's name. "She would be proud," June said quietly, standing beside him. "Yes," Dr. Jin agreed. "Though I think she would say we're just beginning." A small hand slipped into his. "Doctor?" Jin looked down to see Tay, now his unofficial assistant and student, wearing a miniature lab coat made specially for him. "Are we going back to the lab now?" Tay asked eagerly. "I want to see the new samples." Dr. Jin smiled. "Yes, we are. We have work to do." As they walked together, human doctor, carbon commander, and the child who had bridged their worlds, Dr. Jin reflected on how much had changed. From hatred to healing, from prejudice to partnership. Not just for him, but for both their peoples. "Doctor," June said as they reached the exit, "there's something I've been meaning to ask you." "What's that?" Dr. Jin replied. "The Mercy is being recommissioned next month as an interspecies medical vessel. Captain Kang asked if you would consider returning as Chief Medical Officer." Dr. Jin considered the offer. "Would I have to give up our research?" "No," June smiled. "Because I've been asked to serve as Carbon Medical Liaison. We would continue our work together but also train others in what we've learned." Dr. Jin nodded slowly. "Then yes. I think that's exactly where we need to be." Outside, the stars shone brightly in the viewports, the same stars visible from both Earth and the Carbon homeworld. Different perspectives of the same universe, now beginning to understand each other at last.